It's about 3 in the morning, Tuesday, March 6th, 2018. I'm freezing, it's cold. I'm down in South Central, such a safe neighborhood for a boy like me to be in. This time of night with no protection, freezing his ass off, waiting for a bus early in the morning to go back to Pacific Division, where part of my stuff is at right now, because they love to spread my property all over the city to make my life more challenging. And they booked me in at Pacific. Then they brought me downtown because they said I was a medical hold, which I'm not. And they could have OR'd me out because it's a simple misdemeanor I know nothing about as part of my massive identity theft. And somebody got a ticket for something they failed to appear, but they can't even tell me what the ticket for, and I have to now go appear at a court in Compton, and I was just brought in a week or two ago for a bunch of 6 other tickets I know nothing about that I have to appear on, which was like a $150,000 bond. Why they wouldn't cite this one at the same time, which I now have 7, who knows? I mean, there's something in Burbank, there's 8, there's like 10 different things pending around the state that I know nothing about. I haven't been driving a car because both of my cars were stolen and LAPD couldn't find either one of them. And if they have, I'm unaware of it. They've driven me out of my house with 18 break-ins in 12 months to the point I put stuff in storage because it was ridiculous to keep living in a multi-million-dollar estate with security, where security never went off for some reason, and break-ins. And when I had video footage of the break-ins and showed them that it was a police officer breaking in, of course they said that wasn't real, and they never came back for any of their kids. For the last 34 years since ABC brought me here, 83 and ABC back in 85, 30 plus years. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to gather my thoughts to set them because I'm still so angry. I was being robbed yesterday morning for of everything that I had just started replacing, thousands that I had just been robbed for, like 20 grand a week ago, of phone gear, video equipment, backup gear, all kinds of food and living supplies that could have lasted a month, all taken, and I've just started replacing again, and now I'm hit again, but with all the video chips they stole alone on films that I'm working on and other intellectual property, this hits about 20 million. So I'm now at a point over the years with all the film lost and intellectual property and technology that I was developing that's been ripped off that police can't seem to investigate, including a data center where I had a multi-million-dollar data center, my own ISP's facility, which somehow mysteriously got a flood and a $50 million working interruption claim was never paid out because police never investigate to find out who caused it, so they just thought it was insurance fraud, which it wasn't. When I was forced into bankruptcy in '99 with one of my companies at that point, which had been appraised as we were going public at a $4 to $6 billion valuation in 1999, I lost during a divorce where mysteriously, while I was on my second honeymoon in Hawaii at my wife's demand in the middle of an IPO, we had to go. My data center flooded, and her dad was high-level intelligence, Tom Neitzel, DOD, who had already locked in my entire network when he came over one day and decided to start showing me missiles we make for China and Russia and breaching national security, just so he could make sure he had a lock on his daughter's husband's company and see everything he was doing through DOD's backdoor peering key that he put on my fucking network. I am tired of being fucked by my government. There are so many crooked cops on Venice and Santa Monica Beach, and so much footage that I've accumulated over the last year. A lot of it's been stolen, but I still have managed to salvage a lot of it, and a lot's buried in the cloud. This thing is going to come to a head. I am tired of being told I need to shut up about the overthrow of the U.S. government with a Russian hack that happened well before the motherfucking election, which the White House knew about, and Obama's people told me I was on stand-down orders as government contractor, and I had to shut the F up. Hey, guess what, Obama? Kurt's not shutting up. He's getting more and more pissed, and it's going to get more and more public. And guess what, Trump? Kurt's not shutting up. It's going to get more and more public about the corruption you guys are doing. The money that Obama took out the back door to help introduce you to the Russians. And all the crap that's been going on. And John Bazuski from the CIA, who set up the servers in my house on my intranet that he allowed the Russians to hack through and get all of wide intel, because I've been doing high-level intel, not only for the US, but for every fucking government on the planet. When worldwide intel was breached, that opened the door that they could hack all the elections in France and Italy and everywhere else since. Because once you got worldwide intel, you got the key to the back door of everything. You guys know that, and I know that. You want me to shut up about that corruption? Okay, I'll be quiet. While I go after LAPD right now to try and get some of the stuff back. So far, we've established that over $1,000 is missing, and several other things, and I have no clothes to wear because they insisted I had to strip down to a fucking t-shirt and my shoes and socks. They have my undergarments, they have my pants, they have my jacket. I'm in a short sleeve shirt in 40-degree weather, turning blue. And allegedly all over a misdemeanor that they could have OR'd me out on and not even had to book me in on. But they decided to drag my ass downtown and put property here and there, just like they did last summer with Perez when I was assaulted in front of the Oceanfront Cafe on the boardwalk in Venice, and they brought me in and then never charged me, never even booked me in, and so it took me a couple weeks to even get some of my property back. And when I got it back and said, hey, stuff's missing, they said, oh, cops stole from me? And I said, yes, and they told me if I didn't sign that I wasn't even get the little amount that was left, missing over an ounce of cannabis, which I have a legal transport license to have and to move, and missing thousands of dollars in other gear and money then, and wrote I was robbed on it and demanded follow-up with Internal Affairs, and even gone to Internal Affairs and requested why they haven't investigated any of the fact that every time I'm robbed or mugged or attempted murders, on my attempts on my life, or I get my face cut open or run into with other cars, they just say, oh, it was an accident, when somebody intentionally T-boned me and tried to push me into another intersection because he said I was in his way, and I had it on video, and the police refused to arrest him and said it was an accident. There's been so much police corruption and cover-up in this town, it makes me want to projectile vomit down somebody's throat. The anger and rage that I'm expressing here doesn't even cap the tip of the iceberg of how bad it has been for me in this city, and how much I have been sodomized by the city of Los Angeles and the police department and area police departments in Santa Monica, Beverly Hills, etc., because they don't like Kirk complaining about police corruption. And they sure as hell won't investigate any crimes that there may be linked to police corruption. If you were to evaluate every phone call off all the lines I've had and every 911 call, and then go back and look at the follow-up, you would see it's heinous, at best. If the FBI and Department of Justice doesn't act on this, it's only because they're the ones giving the orders to make this happen. And I was even told that by U.S. Marshals, by Sheriff's Departments and other, when they looked at it, with all the shit that's been going on, they said it seems like this is coming from higher than local police. I don't know for sure, but when you got people in the feds on the inside who are telling you that, you got to take a look at it, don't you? The FBI has been covering up this Russian hack. They've known about it well before the election, and they even said, shut up about it. So did the State Department, Department of Homeland Paranoia, and several others. Yet then they came back to me after the Paris bombings and said, yes, it's a direct link to the worldwide hack. And came back to me after the Brussels bombing, and even had people contact me from DOD and tell me that Riverside and the stuff that happened in Florida with the terrorist attack were all predicated off the intel that was received off my service, on my intranet servers that shouldn't have been accessed by the public, let alone the Russians. Were hidden IPs. The only people who knew those were AT&T and John Bazuski and John Clough. There was a very short list of intel who had access to those IP addresses for people to hack. And there's enough hard forensics evidence around that somebody better get off their ass in the Department of Justice, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Paranoia, and start to look at the local cops and start to look at the hack and all the robberies and break-ins and start to link this together, because there's enough hard evidence. Even Sherlock Holmes in his sleep on steroids, overdosed on codeine, would have figured this out by now. Come on, guys. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on here. You're intentionally screwing with Uncle Kurt. And Uncle Kurt's going to get so public and so vocal about it and start to put up all the videos of all these meetings I've been having with people saying, oh, you can't file another police report. You're not allowed to file for this. You need to get out of here. That it's going to make a lot of people look like the dumb shits they really are. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wake up. Your government's not working for you, it's working against you. They don't want the 99% here anymore. Look at Georgia Guidestones. Look at Illuminati plan to genocide 7+ billion people. Just Google those terms. It'll all come up in black and white. Look at the CERN project, CERN. Look at HAARP, HAARP.net. I can go down a litany of these projects. How about Plantex Plant in Amarillo, Texas, where we sell everything to everybody around the planet. In germ warfare, nuclear warfare, in all kinds of annihilations, and we decide what countries we're going to make them for, and we do it for everybody, and then we complain because they have them, yet we sold them to them. Like the Scud missiles used against us in Desert Storm came out of St. Louis, Missouri in 1952, and they said, oh, how dare they use those dirty missiles on us that we sold to them. Come on, stop the circle jerk. When I read the lines that said that more than 60% of U.S. intelligence is served in the capital city of Pakistan on the Bola servers. That's bullshit. More than on the NSA servers at Google in the United States. And I stopped the session, I said, is that true? And they said, yeah. So I kept reading, but as a technologist, I know if you serve anything on my servers, I get 100% of it, I don't get 60%, because I have a peering key to make sure you're not putting malware and other shit on my servers, especially at a government level. So that's part's wrong. So they get 100% of whatever we put up. And it's more than we serve to our own intel on NSA servers at Google. So they know when to move the goat so we can stage another, drone strike and, oh, needless people, casualties happen. Bullshit. When DOD gives an order to wipe out a neighborhood, they say men, women, children, despite what the Geneva Peace Conference says. I have talked to DOD people who have been in the field and are still having nightmares living on the street because they were ordered to kill innocents, and when they protested, they told if they didn't, they'd be heading home in a body bag. It's time we start telling the truth. We are the terrorists. We demand stuff from countries. We're the only country that can have a base on your country and can have an embassy. And if we don't get one, we're going to put sanctions on you, we're going to put embargoes against you, restrictions, and we're going to put tariffs, and we're going to do everything to get what we want. If we still don't get it, we're going to put paraphernalia on your streets and get your kids to overturn your government with paraphernalia and drugs. And if that doesn't work, we'll just send in a fucking hit team. We will get what we want because we're America. It's time we start being just us for everyone and not just us for those who can gouge your eyes out and take back to our hidden interests through Congress, through lobbies and kickbacks and campaign donations to pass through laws. So in the past year, downers became the #1 form of death. You got a place in Virginia just outside D.C. with 5,000 people who had over 10 million hits of downers. How many does it take to kill a city of 5,000 people? 10 million hits? Oh, I think they could wipe up, half the East Coast. If you do it right. Come on, folks. At some point, you need to stop drinking Kool-Aid, and the ideal story is that cops are out there to protect and serve. Most of them are criminals with badges running their own fucking agenda, and you either play by their game, and if not, you're copping a plea because they're going to make sure you go down for something. I went down for the fact I was complaining people were robbing me, but because I used a self-defense tool, which is legal to carry a flashlight with the zap on it, I was arrested because I might hurt someone. And so I had a mental hold. And so they dragged me in, and they had the people with my stuff, and they said, oh, no, it's ours. And so the robbers got to keep my stuff because they said, oh, no, it's ours, even though I could identify stuff and told them where they could find the receipts and everything for it, and I could bring them to the stores and show the proof that the exact items they had, I bought. If there is not a major grand jury hearing over this and all the other incidents, I will make sure that I make it my life mission to sue you guys right down to your fucking eye teeth. You better start doing what you're supposed to do when this protocol happens. You should have had internal affairs investigations going on for the last 34 years. You haven't. I've requested them. I've even gone on site. I've been begging Santa Monica PD to even let me know how to get a hold of internal affairs because the numbers they have published on the internet are not correct and no one ever gets back to you. And every time I go in to file a complaint for internal affairs, they always have some officer come out who's not with internal affairs to take a complaint he'll pass along, which never gets there. This is the most corrupt, satanic bullshit I've ever seen. I've even watched sacrificial offerings happening on the beach in Santa Monica. Stuff that's just beyond disgusting. I've watched people being abused and eliminated, disappearing off the beaches, who come here to have their dreams in Hollywood and have them smashed high into the stars because they either are sold into the drugs and sex traffic or forced into it, and if they're not, they just end up turning up to be one of the missing people on the beach real soon. And it's not because they took a bus home. So if you're looking for your missing kids, you might start leaning real heavy on LAPD and Santa Monica PD and find out where they sold them to. Because they do regular drugs and sex traffic sales on the beach. It's a multi-million-dollar industry. And we had a lot of hard footage on it. So if you start rifling through the footage that's on the internet now and watch it, it's not always labeled. It may just have a date of posting. And that may be the date it when it's shot. You want to really piece this all together? Look at the geotags, date and location shot, and then piece the videos together in order. This whole crazy story you've been seeing unfold on the internet will make a lot more sense. And you'll find out Uncle Kurt's not crazy. He's just crazy pissed from being sodomized for so long. This has cost me and my companies personally billions of dollars over the last 34 years, documented. And at this point, Uncle Kurt's suing to get every fucking nickel back, plus punitive, damages, interest, penalty, anything I can get. I'm not going to roll over on this. You're not going to scare me away. I'm not living in fear a cop's going to cap me. You're going to cap me? There's enough hard evidence to prove you did. There's enough people managing my estate that'll come after you like a motherfucking hurricane. If you think I'm playing, keep pushing my buttons, because this thing's going to start to ramp up real quickly here. I'm done being fucked with by government for being honest and telling the truth about corruption. You made me work with you. You threatened me life in prison if I didn't cooperate on crimes that I had no part of. But I knew people, so I must be able to find a way to worm out information. I'm not a snitch bitch. I'm not your patsy, I'm not your toy, but for 4 decades you forced me to do stuff with the U.S. government because I knew too much. Well, guess what? I know a lot more than you know right now. And if I start spilling all that out, you're going to see a lot of federal officers go to jail too. So maybe it's time you guys get honest and start doing your fucking jobs and stop scratching your heads going, how do we put him out of business, and realize you need to look the other direction and look at the people who are causing me the shit that I'm coming in and bitching about. And maybe really arrest real criminals instead of taking me downtown on a psych hold because I'm pissed off that I just got robbed for 20 grand last week and now another 20 million in assets of intellectual property hacked and taken again. And I had the people. You said go find them. I did. In a matter of minutes I found them with my stuff, and then you arrest me. I assure you, every one of you corrupt fuckers, whether you get hit in this lifetime or next, you are going to pay for this. Straight to hell.